A helicopter leaves you on the shore. Your mission: get to the other side of the island where a lifeboat will arrive for you. Seems easy enough on an island this small, but here's the catch. A few people and a lot of supernatural monsters are the only inhabitants of this island. You see 3 roads with signs near each of them. The first leads to vampires. The second road takes you to zombies. The third one leads to alligators. Which road do you choose? You have 10 seconds to decide. Choose the road to alligators. As I said, only people and monsters live on the island. No real-world creatures here. You take the third road and end up in a huge meadow. The scorching sun is beating down on you, and you want to find some shade. Fortunately, you see 2 houses ahead. The first looks very old and decrepit. The windows are broken, it's missing most of its shutters, and it looks like the whole thing could collapse at any minute. The second house looks brand new, sturdy and clean. But you notice it doesn't have any windows at all. Where will you go? 10 seconds on the clock. On this strange island, the second house without windows is a sure sign that the inhabitant is afraid of sunlight. You don't want to land in the trap of vampires. You choose the first house. You find yourself in a large room. Everything's covered in cobwebs, a thick layer of dust coats the furniture, and the floor is creaky. You find a can on a table. All it says is antidote. You're sure this could be useful, so you put it in your pocket. You also find a bunch of keys and go to the far end of the room. There are 3 doors before you. Hey, there's always 3. The first door has several locks on it, but the keys you found will open them. The second door clearly says werewolf inside. There are no signs on the third door, and it looks inviting, clean, and cobweb-free. Which door do you choose? Your 10 seconds start now. The locks on the first door mean there must be someone or something kept inside that shouldn't be let out. Better not open it. If the third door has no webs or dust on it, then someone must use it regularly. It's likely the werewolf lives there, so you choose the second door. The exit leads you to a park with trees and shrubs. It's strange how quaint it looks for a place like this. You see a group of 7 people ahead. They also look totally normal, but as soon as you come closer, you notice there's definitely something off about a few of them. They're zombies. How many can you identify? Careful, they might spot you. You only have 7 seconds now. The right answer is 3. That guy trying to find his eyes that fell out. The girl on the bench is eating ice cream with body parts in it. And this man doesn't even notice the dog biting his leg. You're afraid of zombies as much as the next guy, but the really scary thing is those people standing nonchalantly nearby. One Sunday, Tom told his brother Dan that he was going hiking with his friend Chris. The next Saturday, the police found Tom unconscious in the forest. Dan said he had been working all week. As for Chris, he was found wandering along the highway. He explained that he had gotten lost in the forest almost immediately after they had arrived and just found his way home. One of the guys was lying. Who was it? Look at Chris. He's too well-shaven for a man who spent a week in the woods. There are 5 girls in the room. Ashley is drawing, Olivia is reading, Maria is playing hide-and-seek, and Emma is tidying up. What's Sarah doing?
Tidying up.
Sarah is playing hide-and-seek with Maria, of course. What number is missing? A small hint, it's not number 4. Number 5 is missing. The subsequent number of 234 is 235. In the small town of Sunshine Valley, 3 teachers went on a sick leave all on the same day. Jenna says she got into a car accident and broke her leg, so she can't walk. Emma complained she had a very unfortunate workout and injured her neck, so she can't turn her head. And Tina says she fell from a bike and fractured her arm. But one of them is lying. Can you tell who? It's Jenna. If she can't walk, why does she even have a crutch to hold her up? If it's raining at midnight, can you expect that in 72 hours it'll be sunny? Nope, in 72 hours, it's going to be night again. In the room, there are 2 people, both of them sitting. But if one of them stands up, they won't be able to take the other one's place whatever they do. How is that possible? The second person is sitting on the first one's lap. A father tells his teenage daughter, "You arrived very late at 3 a.m. and made us all worry a lot. I don't want this situation to repeat." His daughter, though, replies that it will never happen again. How can she be so sure? The father was talking about the birth of his daughter. An art expert paid big money at an auction for a painting that he knew didn't cost anything. He was an honest man and didn't have any criminal intentions. Why did he buy this picture? Although the painting cost nothing, its frame was a beautiful and expensive piece of art. Wow! While working late at night in a top-secret laboratory, Michael finally managed to create the DNA of a hybrid monstrous creature. After all that hard work, he decided to grab a quick coffee and donut as a little reward. But he came back and saw that the specimen had disappeared from the incubator. Michael lined up Ryan, Jeff, and Laura and confronted them. "Who took an important top-secret piece of research I was working on?" Ryan said he'd been busy doing some additional research on a separate project and had no idea what was going on. Jeff said he hadn't touched the hybrid creature and had been in the archives digging through some files he needed. And Laura said she'd been in the bathroom the whole time. So, who took the specimen? Michael never mentioned that he was dealing with a hybrid monstrous creature. Jeff just let himself get caught. Better think smart next time. Anne absolutely loathes winter, but just like anyone else, she has to go out and do stuff. She had just moved to a snowy city for work and experiences some of the coldest winters. But she managed to make it to the mall to do some quick shopping through a huge blizzard. When she came back to her parked car, she discovered that someone broke into it and took her belongings. When the police lined up the 3 suspects, they each gave their stories. Francesca said she had been polishing her car outside and didn't know anything. Ned said he'd been shopping for clothes, and Earl said he'd been sitting in a cafe on the upper floor of the mall. The police arrested the suspect. Who was it? Francesca. She was polishing her car outside in the middle of a blizzard? That's not only illogical, but not safe either. She just gave herself away. You wake up and find yourself trapped in a room with 4 doors in front of you. You don't have enough time to choose which door leads to freedom. You hear a monster coming, so you check out the doors quickly. The leftmost door has a sign on it saying, "Take the door on the right to break free." The second door also has a sign saying, "It's the right door." The third door has a sign, "Freedom is just right in front of you." And the last door has a sign, "Don't trust the signs." Which door should you choose? The last door. It says not to trust the signs, but it doesn't mean that they're lying. The first door says to take the door on the right. Not necessarily the last door on the right, but just the one on the right. The second one says it's the right door. Not the correct door, but the right door, as in the door on the right. The third door says freedom is just right in front of you. That just doesn't make any sense, does it? So it's the last door on the right that leads to freedom. Lucas and Sam are participating in a selfie challenge. Lucas poses with someone who fell off of a boat in a stormy ocean. Sam is snapping photos of herself in front of a house on fire. Who isn't acting smart? Lucas. He's the only one to help the person battling the waters, while in Sam's photo, the fire truck is already there. Both Alice and Liam are spending time with their sons. Alice is ready to cross a very busy street to get to the park, while Liam shows the moon and stars to his son. One of the parents is making a big mistake. Can you see which? Liam. Alice is holding her son's hand. Liam let his boy stand on the railings without holding him. Ashley and Mary were walking in the forest when they spotted some barriers. Each picked a different plant to feed on, but one of them didn't make a smart decision. Guess who? It's Ashley. There's an unconscious bird next to the plant, which indicates it's poisonous. The endangered plant seeds can be eaten. Lucy and Jack are both doing work on two different buildings. Lucy is sitting outside on the second floor, trying to clean the window. Jack is climbing down an apartment complex. Which of the two is less clever? Jack. Even if he's wearing a helmet, the height difference is enough to injure him. Joanna and Sissy are spending the day at home. Joanna is doing her spring cleaning, while Sissy is trying to feed her son. Which of the two should rethink their actions? Sissy. There's no danger if the vacuum cleaner isn't plugged in. But it isn't a good idea to feed babies chunks of chicken with a knife and a fork. Michael is ready to break into a house that has a dog. Karen is putting the jacket on her daughter in the middle of the street. Who is in more danger? Karen and her daughter. They're kneeling and don't see the car approaching, while Michael can spot if there's a dog in the yard or not. Jason went to the water park with his son. Jake is a firefighter and was called to put out a fire. Now Jason is on the phone while a boy behind him struggles to stay on the surface of the pool. Jake is putting out a fire on a tree. Which of the two isn't bright? Jason. He's on the phone and can't hear the boy behind him. Jake is putting out the fire on the tree to prevent it from spreading to the forest. Ruth is spending the evening with her grandson, and Adam went camping. Ruth spotted a cockroach and began spreading pesticides everywhere. Adam sprayed deodorant all over him next to a fire. Who is less intelligent? It's Ruth. Even though Jason sprayed something in a pressurized can next to a fire, he's still in an open space. but Ruth is with a baby in an enclosed house filled with harsh chemicals. Simon and Kyle are at the train station. Simon is sliding backward down the stair railings while taking selfies. Kyle is sitting on the platform with his legs extending over the train track. Which of the two isn't sharp-witted? Kyle. Simon can see behind him with his phone, and even if he falls, he'll be safe. But Kyle is distracted on his phone and can't see the train coming. If he falls in the tracks, there won't be enough time for him to get out. Dan and Josh are spending their Saturday evening at home. Dan went to cut some wood with a shovel, while Josh started a fire in the bathroom. One of them is making a huge mistake. Tell me who. It's Josh. An indoor fire on carpet is not a good idea. Cutting wood with a shovel may be impossible, but it's safe. Mary and Linda took their babies for a walk. Mary took her son to the beach, while Linda took her daughter to the park where it started to rain. They both have umbrellas, but which mom isn't bright? It's Mary. Without protection, her son will get a painful sunburn. Susan and April are spending their weekends with their daughters. Susan took her daughter to the beach. A huge tornado is approaching, and she's taking selfies. April put her baby in a bathtub, and she's taking selfies without looking at her baby. Which mother isn't smart? Susan. Her daughter is exposed to dangerous weather in the ocean, while April can reach and grab her daughter in case something happens. Olivia and Barbara are pregnant, and they want to have some fun before giving birth. Olivia went to have an acupuncture session, while Barbara went water skiing. Who should rethink their actions? Barbara. Acupuncture is safe during pregnancy, while water skiing is dangerous. Mary and Richard are going on a riding trip, while their friend Charlie is riding alone. One of the two motorcyclists is making a huge mistake. Can you see who? It's Richard. It's more dangerous to ride with your eyes closed than without a helmet. Valerie and Nicole must cut down some tree branches. They both climbed on the same branch and started sawing the wood. One of them isn't making an intelligent decision. Who? It's Valerie. She's cutting the part of the branch they're sitting on, while Nicole is sawing the outside branch. Trapped in a pyramid. Justin was an archaeologist who explored ancient pyramids. Once, something went wrong and he got locked in a tiny room deep underground. Justin had got into the room through a narrow passage, which was almost immediately blocked by a rock slide. There was only one other door, and it was locked. To open it, the guy had to solve a riddle and enter the correct 4-digit code. A, G, F, H, V, Z, J, T. What code should Justin enter? Each digit of the code is the number of letters in the alphabet that stand between the letters in the riddle. So the code is 5139. No choice. One guy was going to Disneyland. At one point, he arrived at a crossroads. There was a sign there, Blueville right, Disneyland left. The guy stood there for a while and then, terribly upset, he went home. Why? He thought Disneyland had really left. A jailbreak. A man is in a jail, and the jail is on an island. The man can't swim, but one day he manages to escape. He uses no boat or anything else that could help him to get to the mainland. There is also no bridge connecting the island with the continent. How did he do it? The man escaped in the winter when the water around the island was frozen. He simply walked away on ice. A red car. Stephen was driving to work when he realized he had left a folder with important documents at home. It was about 9 a.m. when he entered his house. At the same moment, he heard glass breaking and saw a man leaving through the back door and running to a red car. Stephen could only see several numbers on its license plate. He called the police and told them everything that had happened. They didn't waste time and went to look for the guy. After searching for 10 minutes, they spotted a similar-looking car near a cafe. When they entered the place, there was only one customer there. One of the police officers came up to them. "Is it your car? Where were you 20 minutes ago?" The customer answered, "Yes, the car's mine, but I've been sitting here for more than an hour." The police officer immediately arrested him. Why? The cafe only opens at 9 a.m. The guy couldn't have spent an hour there. Locked in. One day, Julia was sunbathing in the park and accidentally fell asleep. She woke up in a strange room with 3 doors. Yes, there's always 3, never 2 or 5. There were some random objects lying around: bricks, empty bottles, ropes, and even a barrel. There was also a note on the wall. "Behind one of these doors, there's a staircase that leads to freedom. You don't want to know what's lurking behind the other 2 doors." Julia got really frightened. Luckily, she figured out what to do really fast and got out in no time. What did she do? She dragged the barrel toward each of the doors, climbed on it, and checked whether the staircase was there. Once she spotted it, she was free. A fruit market. A man came to a fruit market to sell melons. After he sold half of them and half of a melon, he saw he had 1 melon left. How many melons did he bring to the market? He came there with 3 melons. Who did it? Maria was getting ready for her date. Everything had to be perfect. But once she decided to take a shower, she found out the bathroom was occupied. It was probably one of her sisters. The girl decided to pick an outfit not to waste time. Soon Maria noticed the bathroom was empty. But as soon as she turned the shower on and started washing her hair, she saw the water was red. It was a prank. Someone had added paint to the shower head. Maria questioned her sisters. Rose said, "I was in my room studying for a math exam." And Ashley explained, "I was in the shower right before you. I even washed my hair, and everything was okay." Maria immediately realized who had played a trick on her. Can you? It was Ashley. Look at her. If she was in the shower just minutes before, why is her hair dry and nicely styled? An empty safe. Alan called his friend Milo, a private detective, and asked him to come as soon as possible. When Milo arrived at Alan's office, he saw everything was upside down, with papers all over the place and furniture broken. "I entered my office, saw this, and immediately called you." Alan's voice was trembling. "I hope they haven't stolen the company money and important documents." Alan rushed to his safe with a key in his hand. "It's the only existing key to this safe." He inserted the key in the lock and opened the door. The safe was empty. While Milo was looking around, Alan was thinking aloud, "I have this new guy, Robert. I'm almost sure he's a spy sent by my competitors. He could break into my safe to steal very important documents." Milo turned to his friend. "Why exactly do you want to frame that innocent guy?" How did Milo figure it out? There's only one key to the safe and Alan has it. If the employee had broken into the safe, he wouldn't be able to lock it again. Colorful houses. An orange house is made out of orange bricks. A yellow house is made out of yellow stones. A blue house is made out of blue logs. What is a greenhouse made of? It's made out of glass, of course. Granny's Riddles. Mark was starving after a long day at the university. His apartment was too far away, so he decided to drop by his granny's. He knew she always had something tasty to treat him to. Unfortunately, his granny had a quirk. First, a visitor had to crack her riddle, and then they got as much food as they could eat. This time wasn't any different. Granny gave Mark a slip of paper. There, it was written, "Little, little, late, late." Can you understand what it means? Too little, too late. A mysterious scientist. Joanna made a bet with her friends. She had to go to a deserted house in the middle of their town at night. No one lived there, and the house was supposed to be demolished soon. But rumor had it, a mad scientist used that building as his lab. It was about 3 a.m. when the girls saw a gloomy, large building. The door was slightly ajar. She entered and saw a huge dark hallway. Suddenly, someone switched on the light, and Joanna saw a bizarre-looking man in a lab coat. He stood there and stared at her for a few seconds before saying, "Good morning, I'm Dr. Clark." "But you aren't real!" Joanna exclaimed. How did the girl figure it out? Even though the scientist had a reflection in the mirror, he didn't cast a shadow. It was a hologram. An accident in a dance studio. Once, a dance studio owner found Dylan, one of the instructors, lying on the floor in one of the rooms. Someone had hit the man on the head. The owner called the police. They questioned the dance studio workers and visitors and found 3 suspects. Chloe, a regular, said she hadn't visited the studio for several days. She had several days off and spent them sunbathing on the beach. Ethan, another instructor, told the police his friend had called him and asked for help. That's why he had left the studio before Dylan came to work. Layla, Dylan's girlfriend, admitted they had quarreled earlier in the morning. But after that, she went to her best friend to talk about this situation. The police officers understood right away who was behind the attack. It was Chloe. She said she had spent several days on the beach, but her skin is extremely pale. Only one portal. Luke took part in a scientific experiment, but something went terribly wrong. He ended up in a place where there was nothing but 3 portals. One of them led to a polar desert in Antarctica. The second one opened into a volcanic crater filled with molten lava. And behind the third portal, there was the dinosaur age with huge diplodocuses roaming around. Which portal should the man choose? Luke would freeze in no time in a polar desert. Molten lava isn't even an option. But diplodocuses are totally harmless to people. They only eat plants. A dangerous teacher. Marta was walking through the park near her home in the evening. It was dark and there was nobody around. Suddenly, her bag was grabbed from behind and the person bolted away. Marta took off after them. She was pretty sure this person was a woman, but she couldn't make out her appearance or clothes. The woman disappeared inside a school building. When Marta ran inside, she saw 3 teachers. The girl looked at them attentively and soon figured out which one had taken her bag. Can you do the same? The woman in the middle wouldn't be able to run away with a cast on her leg. The one on the right doesn't have anything in her hands. Where would she hide Marta's bag so quickly? But the woman on the left has a big shopper bag on her shoulder. A real teacher wouldn't need to carry it in the classroom. Missing paintings. Detective Henry Taylor was getting ready for work when he heard screams from his neighbor's house. He rushed there. The door was locked. The man had to kick it several times before it gave way. He found his neighbor, Miss Anderson, in the living room. She was tied to a chair. "Oh, I'm so happy you heard me shouting. An hour ago, a man knocked on my door and said he was an electrician. But as soon as I let him in, he tied me up and took all the priceless paintings I had got from my grandfather. And then he just ran away, leaving me here." Detective Taylor had to arrest the woman for staging the theft. How did he know? When he tried to get into the house, the door was locked from the inside. Who could do it if Miss Anderson was tied up and the thief ran out of the house in a hurry? A car accident. Emily had been dreaming of having her own car for ages, and finally she got it. The girl was so happy that she immediately went for a drive. She was a careful driver and never broke any traffic rules. But suddenly, she heard a nasty screeching sound and was jolted forward. When she got over her shock, she saw a red Toyota disappearing into the distance. It was a hit and run. Emily was extremely upset. In an awful mood, she continued on her way. 10 minutes later, though, she saw the very same red Toyota parked near a cafe. Emily ran inside and saw 3 visitors. The girl didn't need long to figure out who the driver that had hit her car was. It was the man on the right. The 2 other visitors are already eating, but he's still looking through the menu. A stuck ball. Martin was playing with his new football. At one moment, he kicked it a bit too hard. The ball flew into the air and fell down a hollow fence post. The post was very narrow, and the ball barely fit there, but still, it got to the very bottom. Try as he might, Martin couldn't get the ball out of the pipe. Luckily, his friend David joined him. In no time, the second boy helped Martin to get his ball back. How did he do it? David used a water hose lying nearby. He filled the pipe with water and the ball floated up. So, you're on a desert island and you're starving. You find a bush filled with berries. You eat a few, but start to feel sick. A local, "Hey, I thought this was uninhabited." They tell you that eating watermelons and grapes will get rid of the poison, but apples and carrots will make things worse. In front of you there are tomatoes, cabbages, oranges. Which one do you eat? Tomatoes! Like watermelons and grapes, they also grow on vines, unlike the rest. You're lost in the desert with just one bottle of water, but you don't know where the nearest water source is. What do? Cover yourself with your backpack to avoid sweating? Walk as quickly as you can to find water? Find shade and rest. The best option is the last one. When it gets dark, you can walk further and find help. While sightseeing in a town, a volcano erupts nearby. There's no lava coming out, just thick black smoke. You see 3 potential routes to safety. Which one do you take? A tall lighthouse is a few feet away, a basement, a car in front of you. Go to the basement and close the door behind you. Lava smoke travels fast, and it can reach the tallest point of the lighthouse. It's 3 p.m., and while walking in the middle of a desert, you come across a tall tower with a crazy scientist living there. He tells you that if you want to make it out alive, you must calculate the height of his tower. What do you use? Fallen tree branches? Your shadow? Your watch? Your shadow. Since you know how tall you are, you can calculate how many times your shadow fits into the tower shadow. You're at a water park, and you've been taken captive by a supervillain. He takes you to the highest point of the park and shows you 3 slides: an orange one, a green one, and a yellow one. One leads to a pool filled with acid, one to a tropical paradise, and the other to a volcano filled with lava. The supervillain tells you, in a parallel world, the purple slide leads to freedom. Which one do you choose? The yellow slide. Yellow is the opposite of purple. You're on a trip into the wild. A huge angry elephant has spotted you, and it's running towards you. What do? Run down a steep slope leading to a river. Climb up a tall tree right next to you. Run straight towards some other animals, hoping it'll lose sight of you. Run down the steep slope. Elephants avoid areas with high elevation to stop themselves being injured. During a camping trip, you realize you have no water, but you're very thirsty. There are 3 ways to get water. Which one is the least dangerous? Harvest some from a cactus. Drink the water from a stagnant lake. Take some water from a flowing river. Cactus water isn't the safest, and a stagnant lake is filled with bacteria and parasites. The least dangerous option is the flowing river. You've been stuck in the wild for days, and you have no idea which way leads to civilization. Which sign do you follow? A plane passing overhead? A flowing river? A group of animals? Your best bet is the river. Since the beginning of time, people have built villages along riverbanks. A mysterious biologist invites you to his home for dinner. He takes you down to the basement and puts 3 plates of weird items on the table. One has wild white mushrooms with white gills. The second is filled with castor beans. The third has some fish brains. Which one is safe to eat? The plate of fish brains is the only dish that isn't poisonous. But the dinner isn't over yet. You're taken into a room with 3 large tanks filled with salt water. You must stay in one of them for 5 minutes. The biologist promises to set you free if you make it out alive. The first contains 6 great white sharks. The second has 70 piranhas. The last one is filled with dangerous box jellyfish. Which could you survive in? In the second tank, piranhas are freshwater fish. They can't survive in salt water. You're leading an expedition to the North Pole. As you're sailing there, a huge chunk of ice falls into the water, causing a large wave to come your way. What do you tell your crew to do? Stop the ship and stay until the wave passes? Start moving in the opposite direction. Keep going and lean into the wave as it hits. Leaning into the wave is the only way to get some balance. Anything else will cause your ship to capsize. You're stuck in a room that's slowly filling up with water. Help is 6 minutes away. The water will reach the ceiling in just 2 minutes. But on the floor, there's a tree branch, a straw, a bucket. Which one will buy you some time? The bucket. Flip it over your head and it'll create an air bubble that will allow you to breathe for a while. While out camping, you come across an angry brown bear that's coming closer and closer to you. What should you do? Start running as fast as you can. Fall to the ground and pretend you're unconscious. Stay still and don't move. Fall to the ground. That way the bear won't see you as a threat. Only one way down. A new restaurant opened on the roof of a skyscraper. Food critic Jake is there to try the dishes and give his feedback. Suddenly, a bad storm picks up and Jake hears an announcement. Everyone must evacuate the building ASAP. He runs inside to find 3 elevators. He must pick one to stay alive. Behind the first, there are dozens of venomous snakes slithering all over the floor. In the second, 3 angry lions are roaring as they smell him through the doors. The third elevator is filled with water and 2 hungry sharks. You want to call the building management to find out who the heck put snakes, lions, and sharks in the elevators. But you need to escape first. Which is the best option? You have 7 seconds to decide. It's the third elevator. When the door opens, all the water will pour out along with the sharks, and he can escape. Trapped below the streets. Josh is on his way home when he notices a group of people following him. He sees an open maintenance hole in the pavement and jumps in to hide. But the cover immediately shuts behind him, and he gets trapped. He starts looking for another exit and ends up in a spacious room with 3 doors. A nearby sign reads, "Only one of these doors leads to safety." Behind the first, there's a room closing in on itself every 10 seconds. In the second room, there are 4 tigers that haven't eaten in months. And behind the third door, there's a giant hungry boa constrictor. Same building management, huh? Your 7 seconds start now. He should pick the second door. Tigers can't go more than a couple of weeks without food. The oncoming train. Will was walking on railroad tracks when he saw a train coming right at him at full speed. As soon as he spotted it, he ran toward the train to survive. Why did he do that? He was in a tunnel. The only way to get to safety was running toward the train out of the tunnel and then jumping out to the side. The takeaway here? Don't be walking on train tracks at all. The gallery incident. A prestigious gallery just had a new exhibition. At the end of the show, the gallery owner discovered that 4 of the most expensive flower paintings had been stolen. The police show up to do an investigation, and now they have, wait for it, 3 suspects. Jenna, the artist, said she disappeared into one of the studios to paint. Bob, the security guard, said he was just waiting outside and had no idea the flower paintings were gone. Lewis, the caterer, said he knew nothing about the robbery until the police showed up. So, who's the thief? It's the security guard. He couldn't have known which paintings were stolen if he was standing outside. Oh, Bob. The mayor's conundrum. Mike moved to a small town and started looking for work. The detective of the village told him, "I'll make you a police officer if you solve this case." For 3 months, the mayor's windows have been broken every night, and the poor glass worker must come in to install new ones every day. We've narrowed it down to 3 suspects. The first is a thief the mayor sent to prison for 10 years and just got out a month ago. The second is the mayor's butler, who he fired 2 months ago. The third is the glass worker himself, who moved to the town 4 months ago. Which one is the offender? It's the glass worker. When he came to the small village, business was slow, So he picked the richest person to target. A blast from the past. Mark and Amy were going on an adventure to the edge of a volcano. Gee, what could happen? Before anyone could react, Amy tripped, fell in the lava, and vanished. No matter what Mark did, he never found her. A month later, there was a knock on his door. When he opened it, he was in shock. It was Amy. But wait a minute, something's off. How could it be her? 7 seconds to help Mark figure it out. Amy had a birthmark on her neck, and this girl doesn't. It means Amy has a twin sister, named Jamie or something. Trapped in the room. Haley is a computer engineer who got an exciting opportunity to work for a major tech company. She walks in for her interview, but there are no recruiters. Only a dark room with a small glowing sign. Boy, happens to me all the time. As soon as she steps closer to read it, the electric door behind her closes and red lights start blinking. That's when she sees a table with 5 buttons on top. Just kidding, it's 3. Can't fool you. The sign on the wall reads, "Only one can help you escape." If she presses the first button, 3 more doors open in front of her. The second button will shut the power off. The third could either lock the door behind her or open it 50-50. Which one should she choose? The second button. When the electricity goes out, the door behind her will open and she'll be free. And I'd think twice about interviewing with that wacko firm. Decisions. Billy's walking home after a night out with friends when a shadowy figure starts following him. He sees a house with the door open and lights on. He rushes in, but the door locks behind him. 3 doors, always, appear before his eyes. Only one is an exit. Behind the first, there's hot lava. If he opens the second door, there will be a 15-foot hungry alligator waiting for him. The third door hides a huge block of ice standing in the way. Which one should he choose to escape? He picks the third door with the block of ice, waits for it to melt, and then escapes. Hope he brought a big lunch, that could take all week. Mike's unexpected hike. One day, Mike decided to go on an adventurous hike. He walked for hours until he found a comfy spot to set up camp. At 1 a.m., he hears water drops on the roof of his tent. He heads outside and sees a huge lightning storm approaching. Mike has 3 options, but only one of them will keep him protected. 1. Go downhill to a flat area filled with rocks. 2. Climb higher on top of the mountain. 3. Head down toward the trees. Which one is safest? Going downhill toward the rocks. Climbing higher is a no-go during a lightning storm. He should also avoid the woods, since lightning bolts strike trees all the time. A lucky find. Shane is a nature photographer on a mission in the Amazon. As he walked deeper and deeper in the jungle, he got lost. He has enough water with him, but he ran out of snacks. Luckily, he comes across an old picnic basket. Inside, there are, 3 things he could eat, but only one that's the safest. A jar of honey, hard-boiled eggs, and a sandwich. Which is the best option? 7 seconds to decide. The honey. No matter how many months or years go by, it doesn't spoil. Sarah and her sister Mary are doing some shopping. When they're leaving a grocery store, Sarah points at some young man and exclaims, "Look, my nephew is over there." Her sister replies, "Oh right, but it's not my nephew. How is it possible?" The young man is Mary's son. You're stranded on a tiny, uninhabited island. You have no radio, cell phone, or any other means of communication. The island also has no trees to make a smoke signal. On the second day there, you notice a helicopter circling in the sky and searching for you. It's flying too high for the pilots to spot you. How can you attract their attention? Pick up some stones and use them to write SOS on the sand. Mila parked her car near her house, came in, and returned in 5 minutes carrying a bucket of water. Then she poured this water on the sidewalk and ran inside again. Why did she do all this? The woman wanted to wash her car. But while she was getting the water, the car was stolen. Why can't a successful businessman open the door in his pajamas? Because pajamas have no doors. The son of the dentist's father is talking to the father of the dentist's son, and the dentist isn't taking part in the discussion. Can you figure out these family ties? The dentist is a woman, and the people who are talking are her husband and her brother. A man is driving along a highway in his car. After several hours on the road, he grows tired. It's also getting dark. He notices a motel sign. When the driver reaches the place, he sees 3 buildings, with a wooden door, with a silver door, and with a gold one. Which door should he open? His car door, of course. You get into a trap prepared by a mad professor. He's conducting an experiment and wants you to dive into one of the 4 tanks filled with water. But the first one is packed with venomous snakes. The second contains acid that can eat even through metal. The water in the third one is swarming with bacteria. Piranhas are swimming in the 4th tank. Which tank should you choose to survive? Pick the 3rd tank. It's the safest of them all. Not all bacteria are bad. Lots of them are actually useful. A small family-run cafe in Paris was called 10 Flags. But near the entrance, there were just 8 flags. The owner could easily hang 2 more flags, but he refused to do it. Why? People often noticed this mistake and came into the restaurant to inform the owner. After that, they usually stayed to have a meal. John called the police to report his friend Mark had disappeared. He explained that 2 weeks before, he had offered Mark to live in his beach house in Miami. He wanted his friend to enjoy some summer heat. But when John returned from a half-a-month-long business trip to Chile, he found out Mark was missing. The police listened to John's story and understood the man was lying. How did they figure it out? If it was summer in Miami, it was winter in Chile. And still, John came back suntanned. It means he hadn't been to Chile. Maya was in the gym doing the workout her personal trainer had prepared for her, Maya's bag. It was her personal trainer. He knew Maya was going to have a long workout and wouldn't return to the changing room anytime soon. A small bridge is the only way to cross a river. This bridge can only hold 2 tons at once. That's exactly how much your car weighs. You start to cross the bridge and reach its middle when a bird lands on the vehicle. Is the bridge going to collapse now? Nah, it won't break. You've already used some gas to get to the middle of the bridge. Your car weighs a bit less than 2 tons now. You're sitting on a plane. There is a horse in front of you and a car behind you. What's happening? Well, you're on a merry-go-round. A man was going on a 3-day-long fishing trip. He asked his wife to pack some stuff for him: a fishing box, a fishing rod, his favorite pajamas, and some other clothes. 3 days later, the man returned home and started to tell his wife funny stories that had happened during the trip. Then the man complained, "I just don't understand why you didn't pack my pajamas as I asked you to." That's when the woman realized her husband was lying to her about the whole thing. How did she figure it out? The wife put the pajamas inside the fishing box. If the man didn't find it, he didn't open the box. A taxi driver is moving in the wrong direction along a one-way road. A police officer notices him doing it, but does nothing to stop him. Why? The taxi driver is walking. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate.